Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture. In this particular video, we are going to study about tuples and sequences. So, till the previous lecture, we have studied about list in detail. So, you can see it from here, the contents. So, basically, we are studying about various data structures, right? In which we started with list and we have seen that how list can be used as stacks and queues, various common methods which we use on list, right? Then what is list comprehension and all, then also the delete statement which we apply on list. So these things we have seen, and now today we are starting another structure which is tuple. So we saw that list and strings have many common properties, right? So list we have studied and we have seen that list and strings are having common properties like indexing and slicing, right? Now, there are two examples of sequence data types. So, list and strings are also sequence. Sequence means what? Some elements are there which are stored in a particular order, right? Wherever ordering is there, we say that sequence is present there, right? So, a list and strings are also, such data structures where elements are stored in a particular order. So, that is why you can say that they are sequence data types. Okay, so you can go to this link and study about all the sequence types, which are basically list, tuple, range, all those things, right? Now the thing is that since Python is an evolving language, what is the meaning? That Python keeps on changing, okay, with the new technologies which are getting introduced in market, with new applications, new requirements. Every time the Python gets, evolved. So new data types, new methods, new concepts are always introduced in this language, right? So, and that is why I told in the very first video of this particular lecture series, that is the course introduction, that we should always follow the official documentation. So in this documentation only you can find the links where you can get the latest version of Python, and you can see that what is new in this particular version, right? So always keep on updating yourself with the official documentation. Okay, all right, so Python is an evolving language. Other sequence data types may be added, right? So till now, whatever we are having, that is generally list, tuple, range, strings and all. But maybe till the time we complete this particular lecture series, and maybe after that also, some other sequence data types can also get introduced in Python. So that is why I will always recommend that even if you're watching this lecture series, it is okay, but always by yourself, you keep on visiting the official links and keep on seeing that what new things are introduced in the language. Okay, all right. So that can happen that other sequence data types are also introduced later, but as of now we are having these, and out of these we have studied about list, we have studied about range, we have also got an idea about string, and now today we are going to study about tuple. Okay, so there is also another standard sequence data type, that is tuple. Okay, so what is tuple? A tuple consists of a number of values separated by commas. Okay, so what is tuple? It is also consisting of a number of values, multiple values are there, right? And how they are separated? They are separated using commas. So now this line seems very similar to list, because in list also we are having a number of values which are separated by commas, right? But you will be able to understand the differences in some time. All right, so overall a tuple we can define it this way. So t is equal to, and then some values you can write like this. Okay, so and how they are separated? They are separated by comma, right? So as you can see here, here only one variable name is there, but total 3 values are passed, right? So then how it will understand? So it will understand that if here one variable is there but 3 values are there, so all the 3 values has to be packed, right? Here packing will be there, so it will be packed in the form of a tuple, and then that package will be, package in the sense means that complete collection will be assigned to t. Okay, so this is how it will happen, and then after that through indexing only you can just access the elements. So t of 0 if you write, you will get this first number which is 1 2 3 4 5, and if you print the entire tuple, then this is how it will be printed. Now here you have to notice one thing, that how they are printed. They are printed, they are actually enclosed within parentheses, right? So from here you have to understand that tuples are represented using parentheses. if you print list, if let us say any list is there, then that will be enclosed in square brackets, which might be you have noticed earlier. But since it is a tuple, tuples are represented using parentheses. So this is how you have to just notice this subtle things, subtle points, and you have to understand them. Okay, so this is how it is done. Okay, now tuples may be nested. This is also possible. Like let us say here u is there, and in u total 2 values. First of all, that you have to understand the overall view. You have to understand that first of all t, and then this particular tuple. Why it is a tuple? Because enclosed in parentheses, right? So total 2 elements are there, 2 values are there which we are storing in u, right? But again, what is t? T is actually this entire tuple. So that means these two tuples we are storing in u. Now since two values are getting stored in a single variable, that means packing will be done and they will always be packed in the form of a tuple. So that is why finally when you print this u, this is what is overall printed, right? So one outside bracket is there, parenthesis is there, which is representing that it is tuple, and this tuple itself is again containing two tuples as the elements, right? So this is how it is. It can be nested also. After that, tuples are immutable. This is one of the most important point of tuple, and this is what is one of the biggest difference between tuple and list, right? So list, if you have watched my previous lectures, we have used methods like append, remove, right? So such kind of things. So by that, what we used to do, we used to add some element in the list, we have deleted some element in the list, like, right? We have assigned some new values to the list. So all these things are possible. That means what? That means basically list can be changed. We can, it is mutable, right? But coming to tuples, tuples are immutable. That means once you're setting a tuple, you're defining a tuple, after that we cannot make any changes in that. Okay, so like for example, here we know that in t, t is basically this tuple. It is having these 3 elements, right? So once these 3 elements are stored, that means it has got packed. Now that packing is fixed. Okay, in that we cannot do anything else. So that is why t of 0, that is the first element, we cannot change like this. And if you try to do so, then you will get this type error. And what it is saying? It is saying tuple object does not support item assignment. So any item assignment you cannot perform in tuple. So I hope it is clear. But they can contain mutable objects. Now this is another thing, okay, that tuple itself cannot be changed, but in tuple you can have other mutable object. Like here, what are these are list, right? Now list is mutable, so as a element some mutable object can be there, and that particular mutable object you can change. But overall, completely the tuple only, like the object means the overall elements you are changing, that is not possible. Okay, alright, so okay, we will go next. Let us see some practicals also, right? And after that we can start with the next part. So here, invoke the interpreter first, and after that, like there it is defined, I will define it in a very similar way, and that is t is equal to, here let us say 1 I am writing, then multiple types of values are possible, right? So strings also I can add some boolean values, that is true, and after that some more numbers, let us say, right? So only one variable is there, but so many values I am giving. That means what? That means they will be packed, okay, and as a single package it will be stored in the variable. Okay, so here, okay, I did not close this high, closing quotation is not there, that is another thing. So that is my syntax error, and here you can write this true, and then 4, then 7. Okay, so you can write it this way, and then t if I print. Now you see, although here I have not given any parenthesis, but it is getting parenthesis when we are printing, so that means it is represented using parenthesis. Okay, after that you can take out the elements from here if you want to access, let us say t of 2 if I write, then in that case true is printed, which is present in the index 2, right? So like this we can access it. After that, so this nesting, and let us see how it is immutable. Let us try to change something. So t of 0 if I am writing, t of 0 is something that is 10, let us say I want to store. So it is giving me type error because tuple objects we cannot change, item assignment is not possible. Okay, all right. and then this list can be there, right? So now this also we can see, like let us say t is equal to, so again you see that once this tuple is set, right, this tuple has been set, in this we cannot make any changes, but let us say, so t is referring to this tuple, right? Now let us say this t I want to refer to some other object now, so that kind of assignment is possible. Let us say in t I want to store now 3 comma 8, this, okay, so it will create a new tuple, right? So this is possible. For this you will not get any error, and now t is printed. So I hope it is clear that inside a complete tuple, inside a complete package, you cannot change anything, but otherwise the references you can change. Okay, it was referring to some other tuple object now, and now it is pointing to something else. So that is possible. Now one more thing, let us see that if I am having the elements of the tuple as a mutable object, like 1 2 3 list is there, and this list can be changed or not, right? So let us see that. So 3 comma 4, this we can write. Okay, so t I can print, so it is printing the entire tuple. Okay, now if I want to do this kind of thing, that is t of 0, okay, so t of 0, if I try to assign some other list in this, okay, and that list can be, let us say 10 20, if this is what I want to do, I will get type error because the element I am trying to change. Okay, but again, if I go to this list, this is my element, right? This is one element of the tuple. Now in this element is mutable object because this is a list, so inside this element again I can change the items. In that case any issue is not there. So let us say t of 0 and then 0, right? So t of 0 means what? That I am pointing to this particular element, which is 1. Okay, so that if I want to change and I want to make it, let us say 10, so that is possible. You see, I did not get any error, and if I print this t, I am getting 10 to 3 and then 3 4. Okay, so this is how I hope you understood what we are trying to say here, that overall the tuple, the overall elements you cannot change, you cannot assign anything or such, but otherwise if any mutable object is there in the form of an element, then those can be changed. So this is the meaning of this. You can try with some more examples to get clear that what we can do and what we cannot do. Okay. Alright, now as you see, on output tuples are always enclosed in parentheses, which I said this is important, so that nested tuples are interpreted correctly. Okay, so parentheses and all, it makes it very clear that where is the nested tuple and all. So they may be input with or without surrounding parentheses, although often parentheses are necessary anyway. Okay, so that means whenever we are assigning some value, that time it can be with parentheses also and without parentheses also. Like here you can see the first statement. Okay, here any parenthesis is not used, so it is valid. Okay, and otherwise if you are using also, then definitely it is better, right? But most of the cases it happens that you have to use parentheses. Okay, if the tuple, in what kind of situation? So if the tuple is part of a large expression, then in that case definitely we have to use parentheses and all. Now it is not possible to assign to the individual items of a tuple, which I was trying to explain till now. Okay, that it is not possible that individual items, or you can say the elements of the tuple, you can assign, you can change. But however, it is possible to create tuples which contain mutable objects such as list. So this example we have already seen, right? Now, though tuples may seem similar to list, they are often used in different situations and for different purposes. So till now, whatever you have noticed, you might have noticed that they are quite similar, right? Both are sequences separated by commas, but still there are different situations and different purpose for each. Okay, so tuples, as we have seen, they are immutable, we cannot change, and usually contain a heterogeneous sequence of elements. Right, heterogeneous means various types of values are there, like we have taken here earlier, right, that one is also there which is numerical value, then high which is a string, then boolean, right? So like this we can have heterogeneous elements in a tuple that are accessed via unpacking, right? So how we access it? First of all, it is getting packed, right, and then it is getting stored in a particular variable, and after that how we access it? We access it by unpacking the elements, right? So about unpacking we are also going to study later in this particular video only. So, and Okay, so via an unpacking we can access, and also by indexing, which we have already seen, or even by attribute in the case of named tuples. So there is also a concept called named tuples. So there by attributes also we can access. You can go to this link and study about that. Now, but in case of list, what we have seen, we know that lists are mutable, right? We can change the elements. So they are mutable and their elements are usually homogeneous. Okay, so don't get confused that they are saying homogeneous. They use the word usually, right? So most of the time, because we are having list of names, list of phone numbers, list of emails, right? So whatever we store, that is generally homogeneous kind of data in list. Okay, but definitely we can store heterogeneous also, and they are accessed by iterating over the list, right? So you can understand little bit the different purposes. If heterogeneous data is there and you don't want to change anything, it should be immutable, then you should go for tuple. And otherwise, if it has to be mutable and mostly you're having homogeneous elements, then you should go for list. Okay, all right. Now the thing is that a special problem is there in the construction of tuples, which contains 0 or 1 item. So if your tuple is containing no item, that is empty tuple you want to create, or maybe you want to create such a tuple which is having only 1 item, in that case you have to keep a very special care. You have to take a very special care. Okay, and what is that? That we will discuss. So the syntax has some extra quirks to accommodate these. And what is that? Empty tuples are constructed by an empty pair of parentheses, as you can see the first example. Empty is equal to, you have to keep open means empty parentheses, right? By this what will happen? Empty tuple will be created. Okay, and a tuple with one item. A tuple will with one item. Now for this what we can do, actually you see, tuples, how we used to define, we were defining tuples like this, right? That you write the name of the variable and then assign the values, right? So this is what we have done. Now if you say that you do the same thing for single item also, in that case I can write it like this: t is equal to 1, let us say. Okay, but in this case this t will be considered as what? It will be considered as tuple? I don't think so. Okay, although it is valid, but if I now print the type of t, in that case it is integer, because how it will differentiate? Till now, whenever you have done some kind of assignment, it was taken as integer or string, maybe if you have stored string, right? Then suddenly today how it will consider tuple? Just because we are studying tuple doesn't mean that it will consider now tuple. Yes or no? So that means if only single element we are storing, then this kind of confusion will be created and it will be considered as some literal value. Okay, not as tuple. So this is the special case which we have to always keep in mind, that that kind of situation will occur. Now how to solve this problem and how to consider it as a tuple? So for that purpose we have to add one extra comma after that single element. Okay, so empty tuples are constructed as we have seen. Now a tuple with one item is constructed by following a value with a comma. Okay, it is not sufficient to enclose a single value in parentheses. Okay, so this also you might think that in that case you just assign enclose it in parentheses. Let us say you write it this way, then it will be considered as a tuple. You might think it this way, right? But even this, if I print the type of this t, let us see what will come. Still it is integer. Why? Because if a single number you are writing inside parentheses, still it is number only, na? Yes or no? 2 also if you write inside bracket, it is 2 only. Like in bracket, if you write 2 into 3, it is 6. So only if you write 2, then it is 2. Okay, it is not tuple. It will not be considered as tuple. So I hope you are getting the point. And that is why if you directly write equal to and write the value simply, that is also not enough. And if you're writing it inside parentheses, that is also not enough. So what you have to do, after that single element, you have to add the comma like this. Then it will be considered as a tuple. Okay, so now I hope it is clear. So you can see the examples. Empty is equal to open means completely empty parenthesis. So in this case it will be considered as a empty tuple. Length you can print and it will come 0, and otherwise single element is stored like this. So please take care of these two special cases. Okay, and after that the statement t is equal to this, which we have already seen earlier, is an example of tuple packing. As I was saying, it is tuple packing because these values are getting packed together in a tuple. Okay, and exactly the reverse operation is also possible, that is unpacking is also possible, which was written earlier, and I said that we will study this later in this video, right? So about unpacking, it is written here. So what is written, that if let us say three values I am writing here, x, y, z equal to t. Now what is t? T is a tuple. Which tuple it is? It is storing these three values, right? These are the three values. So by unpacking, these elements will be stored one by one in the respective order to these three elements. So x will take the value 1 2 3 4 5, y will take this 5 4 3 2 1, and z will take the value of hello. So here what is happening, it is exactly the reverse process, where one single unit is given, and that is getting unpacked and stored in the separate variables. Okay, so this is what is the concept of unpacking. So this is called sequence unpacking, and works for any sequence on the right hand side. So it is not that only tuple you can write here, you can also write a list, the name of a list or any other sequence. It will work in the same manner. So sequence unpacking requires that there are as many variables on the left side of the equal sign as there are elements in the sequence. So here this is important, that here three variables are written, so you should also have at least three elements in the tuple. Otherwise, if let us say here if you're writing 10 variable names but 10 elements are not there, then what rest of the 7 elements will get? Nothing, right? So it will throw error. Okay, so this thing you have to keep in mind. So note that multiple assignment is really just a combination of tuple packing and sequence unpacking. So that means whenever multiple assignment we are doing basically in this manner, that is x comma y is equal to 2 comma 3, if this kind of multiple assignment it is, right? In x also we are storing something, y also something. It is basically a concept of tuple packing and unpacking only. First of all, this 2 comma 3 will be packed in a tuple, so here tuple packing will be done, and after that by unpacking, this 2 will be stored in x and 3 will be stored in y. Okay, so whenever this multiple assignment you are doing, basically it is what? Basically it is the combination of tuple packing and unpacking. So I hope this point is clear, and let me show you this unpacking also, how it will be done. So let us say t is containing something 2 3 and 4, so I can print this t, it is printed. Now if I let us say I'm writing x comma y comma z, and that is equal to t. Okay, so it is done. Now you can print x is printed, it is taking 2, then y, and then z. Okay, now let us say if I'm doing like this, m is equal to m comma n, let us take two values, m comma n is equal to t. If this is what I'm writing, then it is giving what? Value error. So too many values to unpack. Okay, so this is not allowed. Again, after that, since here three elements are only there, more if I give, let us say m comma n comma o also comma p also, okay, so many variables if I give, and then if I write t here, then also I'm going to get value error, because not enough values to unpack. Okay, so not enough values to unpack. So from here what you're understanding, that here those many variables only you have to write exactly as many elements are there in the tuple. So this is the concept of packing and unpacking. So I hope this discussion about tuples is clear to you. If you're having any doubt, you can comment it down, and I'm ending this lecture here. Thank you.